Good morning,
Well, I'm on the phone
and
this
thank you
time.
for joining Coffee and Convo live with Ari and Chosen. We have special guest FD Sparkman with us. Good morning, salutations. Hi, Diz. All right,
That wasn't
today's
this
show.
time.
That wasn't Diz this time.
Mm-mm.
Her sister there.
Nope. Maybe that. I don't know.
Nah, that was a stupid dog over here.
Yeah, that wasn't this.
Really? So today's show,
Yes.
we're talking about self-serving people and being judgmental.
That's right.
Oh,
Correct,
God, no.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can't blame that on me. I can't blame that on my dog.
I think he's gonna relocate.
Good Lord. Stupid dog.
Okay. Oh, stop it. All right. So last week's show. Does anyone remember last week's
So
show?
last week's show, we were doing communication 101.
Communication 101.
Yeah, exactly.
Go
So
ahead
what
and
we
recap
did,
it for us.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and recap this for y'all. Last week, we talked about communicating, how communicating, is supposed to be the catalyst for either bettering your relationships and letting your relationships go down under. Different types of communication. We got into talking about, of course, we got into talking about agreeing and agree to disagree. Best ways to, best ways to do, whenever, basically what I said, one of the points I made last week was being able to have the hard conversations, being able to have those hard conversations and being mature enough to find either common ground or resolve it right then and there. Not having one of y'all go to, if you're in a romantic relationship, not having one of y'all go to sleep mad and one going to sleep with it and being unbothered. Basically that communication is the foundation of any relationship. We talked about the three types of relationships, either your business relationships. We talked about the friendships, and then the romantic part of the relationship. Um, romantic relationships, the communications within those. It's pretty much what last week was about. If y'all missed it, y'all can definitely go back to the YouTube page where it is posted. All episodes are posted in the YouTube page, and I'll leave the link in the description after the video.
Put that down. Okay, so communication 101 is what led us to today's topic, self-serving and being judgmental. We had a comment last week regarding how people are self-serving in their communication and judgmental. And this is why, because there are people that are judgmental, how people may view you, and it'll prevent you from even discussing certain things with them because they are judgmental. So that's what led us to today's topic. We wanted to address that. And if I'm not mistaken, Frederick has a point of view for the self-serving. You want to share that with us?
Well, as I was telling you during the phone call that we were having, self-serving is just that. It's like when you go to the store. Now, when you go to the store, when you go to the gas station, you have everything is self-service. So you're alone while you're doing it. And as you serve yourself, if that is your only goal, you will always end up being alone. Because nobody wants to be around somebody that's only thinking about themselves. That was pretty much it.
Okay. Good morning, Rochelle. Thank you for joining Coffee and Convo. So you are against self-checkout and all of that, or what? Because you're comparing self-serving to self-checkout.
I'm sorry. I'm black and I was using an analogy. That's all that was going on.
I love it. No, I get what you're saying. When you're so used to doing things on your own and not asking for help, not looking for help, not trying to even help others, you do get to a point where you live your life as though you're on an island. And sorry, but no man is an island. Good morning, Melissa. Thank you for joining Coffee and Convo. Okay, so Chosen, what do you have to say about self-serving?
All right. Well, a lot on the I have a lot of similarities to what Frederick
Mm-hmm.
said. You can get to the point, to where you start doing everything on yourself, but everything yourself, because number one, either it won't get done the way you want to get it done, or basically it has trust issues within it too, because it's like, okay, if I do it, then it'll get done the way I need it to get done, and I don't have time to wait on people, or I don't have time to and then then one of the biggest ones is that I'm not trying to set myself up for disappointment, because one of the main things that we sit up and say is like, okay, man, I'll let you down every time. Humans will let you down, and this and that. So to an
Mm-hmm.
extent, there is nothing wrong with being self-serving. We just can't get self-serving mixed in with self-sufficient, mixed up with being self-sufficient. Y'all know sometimes how I usually go and say, man, I don't like humans. I can't stand these humans. Oh my gosh, these humans. It's like uh, that comes from knowing that, hey, man, I can get this done myself, and I really don't need that. I really don't need that help. But where that can be bad is if you don't have anybody around you to help you because you don't know everything, then they can be very self-destructive. So in some sense of it, being self-serving is it's not a good thing, but you but just being way too self-serving, like just self-serving and you have no regard for anybody else, is where you run into the bad part. That's my opinion. That's how I feel about it.
Now, see, I see it more as
Yeah, but
not doing anything unless you're able to get something out of it.
That
well,
too, not doing any, but we know what I said about that. I always say something about that. To me, there is no
I
such
know,
thing
I know you always say something about that, but when I hear self-serving, that's the only aspect I see it as. I don't see it as being self-sufficient, overly self-sufficient, or um, non-trusting. I just see it as not doing anything for anyone unless I'm getting something out of it.
that.
That's
Yeah,
what I see it when I
yeah.
hear self-serving.
I think that that point that you the one that I think that the one that you came with is the most common.
Okay.
That that's the one that says like to go with to go, it goes without saying. That's what I wanted to say. And so
Okay.
me taking that other one is that can go into that. Like if you sit up and you like, nah, man, I don't really trust them to do this. Then you get to that point. It's something that is like it's like that seed. You plant that seed and it grows into something else, which can ultimately grow into the the main thing that you say, the main thing that you're saying.
What do you say, Frederick? Because your perspective was no man can be an island.
well, not exactly. I mean, you got self-service, self-sufficiency, and self-serving. I was just using the analogy for the self-serving, as in the more you serve yourself, the more you end up alone, because
Okay, so
everything isn't
it
just
goes,
about you. So
so that goes without saying. If you're not doing, if you every time you move, you're moving for a benefit of yourself. If someone asks you to take them to the store, you want to figure out how much gas you're gonna be able to get out of this person. So your car don't move
mm,
unless they putting gas in your car. That's
not
not
usually,
always right. Go
well, that's not usually my
ahead.
deal. My deal is
Okay.
usually if I have more than them and I can spare it, then fine. Because you have to look at what the other person is going through compared to yourself. You might be talking about the rich man and Lazarus. So if I got a
Okay.
Cadillac sitting here, full tank of gas and nowhere to go, and you want to go to the store and I got nothing to do, then come on now.
So tell us about the rich man and Lazarus.
Well, speaking of stupid dogs, you got
Hey.
Lazarus who was sitting outside the rich man's house at his gates, and dogs would lick his wounds. And Lazarus was sitting there desirous of the scraps that fell from the rich man's table to eat like a dog would eat. And
Mhm.
You know, when once Lazarus died and the rich man died, Lazarus went into Abraham's bosom and the rich man went into hell. And there was a great gulf fixed between them. And the rich man looking up, seeing Lazarus in Abraham's bosom, asked Abraham to send Lazarus over so that he can dip his finger in some water to cool his tongue, because he was burning in this torment. So the moral of the story at the end is you can be self-serving and you can only care about yourself, but in the end, no one will burn in hell with you. You will be alone.
Wow. Interesting. Okay, we're going to go from that and touch on the, being judgmental. Chosen. Kick us off.
Oh man, being judgmental. I always usually say something that you should not do, because you judging people on something that you might be guilty of yourself.
Ooh.
So like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. But I'm pretty sure that there's something that you do that will probably bring a couple of fingers back to yourself. So being, I mean, you know, I've always known, I've always learned that, hey man, you know, I'm not, well, we got to go to scripture a little bit,
Okay.
He who cast the first stone, that type of thing. And, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got that one thing about them that, for lack of a better word, taboo. Everybody got that one thing that they, they guilty pleasure or whatever, I guess. And that's quick to say, oh man, you over there, she over there smoking them tweeds and this, that. But then she at the jukebox spending them last $2 and at the speakeasy, and they supposed to be somewhere doing something. So you got something that people can talk to you about versus what you talk about to people. Then again, sometimes that, to me, being judgmental is that yanking somebody out, yanking somebody cover off of them, knowing you don't want the cover yanked off of you. So
sweeping around somebody.
That's like my insight on that.
Porch, and your porch need to be swept around itself. Okay.
Well,
but
that's more along the lines of judge not lest ye be judged, or judge with the same measure that you put out to others.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, judgmental is just that, judging mentally. You're judging a matter before you've examined the facts. You're judging somebody before you looked into their situation, or you're judging something without even knowing, without even having made the attempt to find the truth before you make a snap judgment, because you think you stand at a higher moral ground.
Ooh. That's a lot of guilty stuff out there with that. That just hit a lot
man, it's not.
That just hit a lot of people, a lot of situations. So this goes simply beyond just a quick assessment of from jealousy, right? Because when people show their jealousy, they quick to put that down, quick to speak, and not knowing the situation. So being judgmental. I'm sorry?
Or they want that to be true because of how they feel about you.
Right. Pitfalls of being judgmental. What you thinking?
Oh yeah, but you are correct.
Go ahead.
The jealousy does go hand in hand with a lot of that snap judgments and being that type of judgmental.
Now, would you say that's a reflection of that person's, the one that's being judgmental, a reflection of their self-esteem, where they are in their life, what they peek into where they stand in themselves?
Well, yeah, but I would say more character than anything. I wouldn't say self-esteem, but just how you hold yourself. You can be arrogant and haughty and all of those other things. People confuse self-esteem with being arrogant and haughty and proud, whereas self-esteem just means that you hold yourself to a certain place to where you believe, okay, this is my line. You can't cross here. I can't cross there. whereas proud and arrogant and all those other things make you think that you are of a higher caliber or character of person than anyone else, so that those rules don't really apply to you.
Interesting. Melissa say definitely character. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just being judgmental, period. Or to what extent would you say that a person's character is starting to be questioned?
Well, we are all the authors of our own demise. So when you are doing something and you know it's not right, when you know you're making a snap judging, the first thing you hear people say, well, I believe he did this because, and then they give you that flimsy bull crap excuse of why they came to that snap judgment, which they know is bull crap, but they trying to justify their judgment.
Okay, so Rochelle says pitfalls of being judgmental for the next show. That's a question. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that and see. Good morning, Leroy. Leroy says good morning, Convo team. All right, so Chosen. You seem to be absorbing. What do you have to say about a person's character as far as being judgmental?
Like I just said a few minutes ago, sometimes when people are, to me, sometimes when people are judgmental, it's like, they trying to pull the cover up over either their insecurities or something that they might be unsure about and expose yours so that the attention can be off of them, or they might feel better about their shortcomings sometimes. Reflection. There you go. Pretty much deflection. That, or reflect. Okay, that's deflection. My bad. And so, that's pretty much it. Then I think too, some people can get like the truth. But people to tell people the truth a little bit mixed up with them being judgmental, because sometimes, people sit up and tell you something that's true about yourself. Well, who are you to tell me about what it is I did, or such and such, and then whenever they leave the room or whatever, say, dang, they was right. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I think it's more of, I look at the deflection, a person's deflection when they just come in the room, like they just reading everybody, being judgmental and stuff like that. So
okay,
that's
you're talking about that automatic defensive wall.
Yeah.
Off-ended. Okay, so with that, I want to put a scenario out there. Okay. Right. Now we're going to go to the movie Players Club. All right. So for women in this situation, dancers and all, there is a lot of judgment on them. Okay. Some will say they're doing it just because they enjoy it. Some will say they're doing it to pay for school. Some will say they're doing it because they were trapped into it. What do you think about the judgment towards women of that, in that field?
You asking me?
I'm asking both of you.
Well, since I used to be a male stripper, not by looking at me, you can tell. They go through people's minds. So, you can't really say why a person does it. People will always give you their different reasons for doing it. A lot of it has to do with feeding off the energy of other people. And like you always say, self-esteem, insecurities. If I got these men hooping and hollering, I feel like I'm better than the average woman that's around me because I don't have to work as hard, their attention, or whatever it is. Even if it's lust, it is still some form of attention that I'm not getting elsewhere or in the way that I really, truly desire
it. Okay. Chosen?
All right. You go Players Club, I'll go Best Man.
Okay.
Candy. You know what I'm saying? On the outside and the exterior, everybody was like, okay, she's a stripper. She paid for school. She was smarter than a lot of other people. She was smarter than what people thought that she was. You know what I'm saying? So I look at it again as character. You know what I'm saying? What is it for? So some people, because some people, some women, some guys or whatever, but but mostly women. Um, some women, they look at it and say, man, I could put myself on this 5 year, 10 year plan, map it out, and say, yeah, I can take maybe 5 years or 10 years doing this real quick, getting called certain names and doing this, but after that, it's over, and I ain't got to work another day of my life, depending on how hard I can hustle. So you really can't. I really can't, even if it is somebody that just enjoys the life or just enjoys that might be a seeking that attention because they're not getting it somewhere else and they feel like, okay, I can get this attention, but I make some money at the good part about it is I make some money at it, with it. It's still not my place to judge who it is, who it is to what it is, even if it is self-destructive for her. It's still not my place to judge that. So it's like, will I look at but at the same time, I will say this, will I look at somebody that's doing it to better themselves in higher regards than somebody that does just because they enjoy being a stripper? Probably. I'll probably be like, okay, well, she was smart with it. She did this to do this to better herself. And okay, if it came down
Okay.
to it, if it came down to it and there was one that I had to date, which one would I date? Would I date the one that did it just because she was trying to bait her herself, or did I date the one for that was seeking the attention and like shaking her behind and all this? Chances are I probably date the one that has the plan to I'm just
The
doing this to
5 year
get up out of here. Yeah, they
plan.
had the 5 year plan
Exactly.
because I'm like I'm not gonna sit up here and date the one that liked the attention because if I'm with you, I'm supposed to be giving you all the attention you need. So there you have it. So
Okay.
you know.
So, of course, I set that up for the next question, and that is being judgmental against ex-cons.
Okay.
All right. Now, ex-cons are judged because of the fact that they've served time at this point. Now, it's like when people look at them, it's like they they have no right to even try to rebuild their lives. Okay.
Damaged goods.
People are true damaged goods. There you go. It's the same, and it's the same thing with these exotic dancers. They consider them damaged goods. So, what do you have to say against being judgmental against ex-cons? Mind you, some have difficulty getting a job, finding a place to stay, uh, um, just being what's the word I'm looking for?
Stigmatized.
Re-entering into the
Blackball.
world. Yeah, they're
Being
blackballed. Okay,
blackball.
before we
Blackball.
start that, we do have a comment here from Leroy. Scripture says, before you try to get the speck out of someone else's eye, take the
Take
log
the
out of
mold in
yours.
your yep.
Uh-huh. When giving advice, knowing that we struggle with the same struggles, a person should set the stage and let it be understood that I can't really speak. Hold on. I can't really speak. I didn't lost it. He wrote me a book here. I can't really speak for you because I'm struggling with that myself. But if the individual isn't struggling with the same thing, that person can offer sound advice, especially if the person struggled with the situation and has found a way out. That's awesome because, in other words, you can't minister to someone unless you walk those shoes yourself.
That's
And
right.
I can accept that. I can get that. I see that. All right. So what do you, where were we about? Oh,
About the ex-cons.
the perspective on ex-cons being blackballed. Do you have
Well, a
like,
lot of it has to do.
go ahead.
Well, a lot of it has to do with people's perceptions of all these prisoner movies that they got out there. So
Mm-hmm.
you get through watching this dude do unnatural things to the other dude in the movie, and you sit there and they got all the stuff and all of these movies that we have, you see that these guys do these things. And then if they come out and they glorify those things, then you're going to say, okay, then you belong where you were. Whereas if that person
Mm-hmm.
comes back and they're repentant, they can tell you why it was wrong, how they shouldn't have done it, and all these other things. And I'm more apt to listen to, deal with, and take a chance on getting to know the person that is more repentant for what they have done, rather than the person that comes out, glorifies, and says, I'll do it again.
Interesting. Okay, so those will be the ones that are labeled what? Career criminals? The ones that will come out and repeat the offense? Okay. Okay, so
yeah, you know, we got lots of them in our family.
You know what? I wasn't gonna put that out there, but we gonna move on from that. Chosen, what do you think?
I've learned. I've seen. I don't know, man. Lately I've seen to where when you have a lot of these ex-cons, some of them, a lot of them that I know, they pretty much opened up their own businesses. They wouldn't let them get in where they fit in with that.
Right.
And they came out here and they took what it is that they needed. And most of them, whether it be laying down floors, and you know, of course a lot of them turn to music. But at the same time, at the end of the day, they made it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of them, and I'm starting to see, I say, well, what did they do? Well, you know, I've seen I've seen some upstanding guys that do this, do that, and then they turn around and be like, yo, you know, when I was in the pen, like I know, there's a couple of them own restaurants, you know, that opened up restaurants and franchises. You know,
notice how
sometimes
change towards people with that. Has anyone noticed that?
Yeah.
When a person mentions that they have a record, all of a sudden they're no longer the person you were kicking it with, because people change towards them.
So
but it's
another reason why that is. Yeah, because you know the reason why that is like they've lived an aspect of life that this other person hasn't had to live, and that aspect of life is, oh, that's a bad place. That's somewhere you don't want to go to. That's this. Oh, this happens there. You've never been there, so the only thing you know is what the media tells you, or what somebody else and told you about this place, and most people automatically write people like that off. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you hear that, oh, you're doing good, you just like, let's go to soul food, like Lim on soul food. When he went out for the job or whatever, dude was talking to him. There you go. What's up, Jarrell? So like Lim, so you know when he went out for that job or whatever, everything looked good. And then when he finally saw what he was convicted for, this really, then he started looking all funny and stuff. So, yeah.
Okay. But no, I'm asking these questions because the topic again is self-serving and being judgmental. Now we were talking about how people do things for others only if they're getting something out of it. And we're not talking about, the joy of seeing them make it, Chosen, like you like to say, we just want to see. We're talking about
they go hand in hand. I mean, just because even if you won't, even if I'm doing something for you, even if I do something for you just to see you do good, that's still me getting something out of it. But I know what you're getting at, though. You say, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then later on, it's the whole Johnny Blaze and Mephisto thing, man. The whole signing the deal with the devil thing. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, cool. And what do you want to return? Oh, nothing. And then here you come 10 years later. I've come back. Oh, you remember when I did this? This is when I need it now. So I get what you're saying. So
yeah. Okay, so Leroy has another comment, and give me one moment. All right, so the truth is that they are treated that way because they were caught by law enforcement, when actually we all know someone who has committed a crime but wasn't caught, including the white collar. So if we are going to be judgmental, let us start with our own selves and give our own selves a chance to have a new and better life. Bam.
I was just about to say.
Well, basically,
that's
that
one
goes
thing I was thinking.
That goes hand in hand with scripture?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Judge and judge righteous judgments. That is correct.
Damn. But people don't actually do this. Again, we still have, like I said, they are blackballed, and he's right. They are blackballed and treated that way because they actually got caught. That's why you hear a lot of people say, I got caught. Okay. If I wouldn't have gotten caught, go ahead.
But what about those people that I stay away from that never got caught?
the ones you know about and you just don't want to mess with them. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get it. But
because they're probably going down that road.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in the car with them when it happens.
When it happens. I get it. But wouldn't that be, again, putting us in scripture? Like he says, okay, we have another comment. Melissa says, well said, everyone makes mistakes. Some mistakes have bigger consequences. Chosen, you want to?
Yeah. I mean,
some mistakes have bigger consequences. There are people like that that made mistakes and have not been caught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you remember me going back talking about how we did a show on that, repercussions and consequences for the actions.
Yep, for them actions. Yep.
So
we did a show on it.
I'll even go as far as to like saying, well, one of the things that I brought up in the show was like males being promiscuous or what having, and you go in there and you sleep around with this lady and you have no intention of being around. You just looking for the good time, and then boom, a baby pop out. So now it's too late to sit up and say that was a mistake because you knew exactly what could come out of it. You just got caught. Now you're looking at the 18 years, and on the 18th year you find out it wasn't his. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that right there can kind of code into what they can kind of code into that, man, because you sit up here doing something and that such come out of it. Then if you go to like the mistake, another mistake too, you can just be in you can just be in the wrong place at the right. Like, okay, you can almost be where you don't need to be at. Like Frederick said, being with somebody that's doing something, and being around somebody that's doing something, you know what the risk is, and you still there. That can mess you up. I had a friend one time. Dude was rolling with some people, and they wound up committing some act, and he went with them too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you knew better, but you just didn't do better. So that's kind of my take a little bit on that.
Judgment in a nutshell.
That's what in a nutshell.
That's judgment in a nutshell. Righteous judgment. You knew better, but you didn't do better.
Yeah, you knew better, but didn't do better. And then I guess if you go back to like the when you really think about a mistake, like
what is a mistake?
What exactly is a mistake? Like you ask yourself, what exactly is a mistake? I made a mistake. Basically, it was like a coupon for messing up or get out of jail free.
Get out of jail
free. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I made a mistake. Like, okay, I would say this. Like, I made the mistake and locked my keys in my car.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like those to me are like mistakes. But but knowing that you finna do, like when some people talk about infidelity, it was a mistake. Like how was that a mistake when you put yourself in a how is that a mistake when you put yourself in that position? When you put yourself in a position to make that mistake. So it's like that whole. So it's like that whole. I'll take it here. Your girl asked you, is it okay for me? My best friend, one of my friends, he's in town. I want to see if it's okay for me to go kick it with him. Actually, it's Tank.
No, not Tank.
So homie from home state. I want to know if it's all right if we go kick it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so it's not. So you go kick it, and then something pop off. Y'all wind up doing something now that you have to explain. To me, that was not a mistake, and I'm gonna tell you why it's not a mistake. Because you know the history between you and that person. Y'all had the history that if things could have popped off and all this and this and that. So what you didn't do was you made the mistake and didn't you made the mistake and didn't respect your relationship, didn't take all the precautionary measures to value and protect their relationship. So because you didn't do that, you wound up mess around with the person that you let that if somebody entrusted you
Conscious
around being with,
decision.
cause
That's a
and
conscious
effect.
decision. That's not a mistake.
Yes. So
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
that's
not
not a, it's not a
a
mistake.
That's what?
bad judgment.
Bad judgment.
Yeah,
Okay,
you have
so
righteous judgment,
I'm
you have
taking,
unrighteous judgment.
Mhm.
you want to break that down?
Well, anytime that we do something and we're told to judge anything, well, we're basing everything on a higher moral standard, whether that be the Bible, whether that be whatever it is you've been taught, what has been instilled in you, how you were raised. Anything that we make a judgment on or upon is based on what our actions held up against a higher moral standard.
Bottom line, our belief system.
Yep.
Okay.
So a mistake
Okay.
is like locking my keys in the car because I was thinking about something else when I was doing this.
Distract.
Consciously
Okay.
choosing to go out and do an act. Now, that's not a mistake. That is a definite choice. That is bad judgment.
Okay. Now, I wanted to take this again back to self-serving people because we're still talking about being self-serving, setting up relationships and doing things. That's what I want to say. Relationships for the benefit of whatever it is you want. Gold diggers. What's the other one?
Pimps.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, you go.
Okay, and this is what would fall under being self-serving. You know, getting involved with someone only for the benefit of what you can get out of it. Staying in a relationship for the benefit of what you can get out of. This is what I would actually say a trophy wife is as well. You know,
Yes.
So I want that we have another comment. Leroy says the undeveloped brain concerning the youth and those who fall into the arrested development category knows how to commit wrongful acts but haven't mapped out the consequences for those actions. I can agree with that. I can.
They call that
You
being
can
foolish.
always figure out how to do wrong, but you hadn't figured out the consequences.
They call that being
Go
foolish.
ahead. What did you say? Foolish.
Yes. They call that being foolish. Fools despise knowledge.
This is
So
true. That's
if
proverb.
you haven't went and checked out what's going to happen to you once you've done this, that's foolish. I can do it, but I'm not looking at the repercussions or the consequences. They call it a lack of impulse control.
I think that's what the arrested development category is, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
When you
That's
arrest
exactly what
development,
that is.
you stop developing.
Mm-hmm. Halting
Arrested
the development.
development, you stop developing.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
To arrest anything means, yes. To arrest anything means to stop something, to stop progress,
Stop it.
to arrest, to stand still, to keep in place.
To halt.
The arrested development category knows how to commit wrongful acts but haven't mapped out the consequences for those actions.
Cool.
Definition of foolish, what you're saying, right?
Yeah, basically. I mean, fools despise knowledge, so they go and do things without thinking them through. You could say that in a nutshell.
Okay.
Or you could say that's
All right.
it in a nutshell.
So, so is it all right to be judgmental against this category? Would that be right?
You don't judge them, you want
Judgment?
You could tell them where it's gonna go. You can tell them what you did and what happened to you. And it's up to them to choose which path they're gonna take. I mean,
Okay.
being judgmental means that you already made a decision. Now, if you're talking about righteous judging, I can see where this is going. So then you can step in and try to arrest that foolishness.
Now, some people are just judgmental for conversation purposes. You
Oh,
know
you
what I
mean
mean
fake?
when I say that?
Yeah, fake people.
Huh?
You mean
Yeah.
fake people?
Yeah, for conversation purposes, that people are judgmental for that. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, that goes into that category of, I want to say like cackling hens, gossipers,
These days,
you know what
men do it more than women.
I mean? So, chosen, please take us back to the self-serving and relationships. Don't curse. Don't
And you being judgmental.
Oh man.
Did you
I
see? You
mean,
should have saw your face.
I mean, I guess you got two different types of people. You got like those that are, those that thrive off of love and those that thrive off survival. You can
Hmm.
have those that get with you and they build with you because they want to build exactly what they're saying they build with you, and they look at, I'm gonna do for you like you do for me, and I'm in it for that. And you got those that sit up and say, okay, I'm gonna get in here, and oh, they look like they'll be a good asset to
Mm,
what I'm trying to
that's that
build, a good
potential.
asset of what.
Oh, you got
Yeah,
potential.
they got that. Oh, you got potential. Okay, I got potential to what though? You know what I'm saying? So it's like you get in there and some people get in there and they get what they need, and once they get to a certain position in their lives, they have no use for you anymore. So most of the time they parasites. So you can
Hmm.
have those parasites when you deal with people in relationships, and so you have to watch it. It's easy for them. It's easy be for them to what's the word that I'm looking for lack of a better word, it's easier for them when it's convenient. They can sit up and say, "Yeah, I love them. I love it." They're quick to tell you, "I love you," because they don't usually separate the "I love what you're doing"
Hmm.
versus "I love you." They can love what you're doing and not love you, but then they can easily try to mesh the two to make themselves feel better. To be like, "Okay, yeah, 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 I do." And then, but if you delve down into it and answer, why do you love me? Or why do they love you? And if they always talk about everything that you do for them and they never mention you, that's like a sign or a red flag right there. So in our relationships, you can have it to where people are self-serving, or you do this for them and you do this for them, and then it's never really about the person in general. That's
Yes.
my two
Like what
cents.
have you done for me lately? Remember that one?
Mhm.
You Janet Jackson.
Because
Yep.
whenever
Okay.
because whenever I just say this one thing, because whenever the orange juice is out the bottle, you know what I'm saying? Now you're trying to now you can tell when you start getting a little old slurp where the juice ain't consistent, you get
Mhm.
the little slurps and stuff like that. First thing you start doing, okay, now I gotta look for the trash can. Now you trying to figure out where am I going to dispose of this? How and when am I going to dispose of this? It's a sad thing that we have people out there like that. You know what I'm saying? When they get to the end of it, it's like, okay, now I gotta figure out a way out.
Okay, so I keep trying to get back to self-serving because there are many aspects that we are self-serving in, such as our career. There are people that work in certain companies to get out of there what they need to get out of there and then move on.
Hmm.
Cool.
Okay, so it's safe to say that there are some aspects in life that we can be self-serving in, or no. Tell me what you think in that.
Well, on the job, you really can't go by that because they need somebody to fulfill the position. You
Mm-hmm.
need money and you need experience more than likely until you can start your own or do your own thing. That is what you would call a contractual agreement. I
Okay.
wouldn't really call that being self-serving.
Really? Hold on, we have a comment here. Leroy says some have the me, myself, and I syndrome, which says when the individual do something for someone, it's all about what they can get from it. The help that they have was never sincere. It was a wise and can't see the motive of such individuals, we should hold on. We got more to that. We should be careful to stay away from them. Okay, so again, to me, it's like it would be like the serpent and Eve in Genesis, self-serving.
Really, Eve was a dupe.
Yeah, but it was set up to get what
Yeah, but you
the bottom
said,
line was for the fall.
but you said
Self-serving.
the servant, and Eve. It also says, and
Serpent.
she gave unto her husband with her, and he did eat. He was there the whole time. He wanted to see what was going to happen to her first. Read your Bible. It's right there.
I saw that. Yeah, that's not how I took it, but okay.
He was right there with her the whole time, wanting to see what was going to happen to her first. Because Adam could have intervened at any time and shut that whole conversation down. So I'm thinking, he said, let's see how this plays out.
We already had this conversation, and you already know how I said it, man.
Yeah.
Now, if it had been anybody nowadays, see, if we're gonna talk about that real quick, this is gonna be a little off subject. You know good and well, if it was me and my woman came to me and told me about something that some dude gave her, I'm finna be like, hold on, man, is you this dude?
Stop.
Y'all sleeping together? What's going on with this? Are you serious?
Stop.
No, because you mean to tell me ain't nobody finna check that? You mean to tell me you not finna pick? Okay, hold up. I'm gonna take it back to soul food. I'm taking it back to soul food. When Bird told Lim that she helped this dude, that he was the one helped get, what was the first thing Lim said?
I remember. Yeah,
okay.
that's what his question was.
Right. Okay. So the thing about it is if anybody come around your territory and they put something in your head, or your significant other's head, that the first thing you're gonna be like, okay, first of all, what was the reason why you didn't come talk to me when you know my position in this whole thing? When you know my position.
That's the cool part about the Adam thing, because he was already there.
He was
Adam
there.
was already there.
He was there.
He was right there.
He was there.
And where he dropped the ball was because he followed. That was where he dropped the ball. But had it been to where, like, most people, like I know me, I'd have been like, hold on, man, we ain't doing that. You shouldn't have did it at first.
The reason why I brought it up is because the whole act itself from the beginning was self-serving for the fall. Okay, that's why I brought it up. It was self-serving for the fall. I'm not trying to dissect
but that's
even
what
Adam.
but that's what these convos are for, man. You know what I'm saying? To dissect. You know,
yeah.
You bring it to me, I'm gonna say it up and state the obvious. The only thing, it was two ways that could go. Was either he was gonna shut it down or he was gonna fall right back into it. But because of the way it played out, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because I know me, I'm gonna be like, you know what? You go over there with that, and you go over there, because I'm like, because hold up, by the way that it says, if it was me, I'd be like, okay, you know what? You like, I pull a Nino Brown, cancel that, I get another. You know what I'm saying? The same way I got put to sleep, I got 5 more ribs.
Stop it. That's like saying that people can't do for the opposite sex unless they are sleeping together, have something going on, have had something going on. Again, that's like saying any act is not genuine. So that's what that's a whole nother show, because I know, Frederick, where you stated in one show that your significant other cannot have any new friends. And I know
she can
that
have all the friends she wants. She just won't be with me. It's just that simple.
Like I said, we've talked about this before.
We could go back to Biz Marquis. You say he's just a friend.
Right.
Whatever, clever.
We talked about the lack of trust in relationships when it comes down to friends of the opposite sex.
There's trust and there's stupidity.
But then again, that self-serve thing comes too because you don't always know the motive of everybody else that's in there because that person could be posing as this friend and they know what you got going on and say, well, I don't have to deal with this and I don't have if I can mess with this like a guy could be like, I'm you know what I ain't finna do that. Like a woman could see a married man and this married man is she could want this married man. He talk to her, tell her that she's he can tell her that he's married and this and that, and this man might give in to her advances, and her motive is like, shoot, I ain't gotta worry about this dude calling me all the time. He ain't gotta always be there, just be available when I need something or when I need this. That right there is to me is a good example of this woman being self-serving because she doesn't care about the
Mhm.
home that she's about to that she's doing. She just wants what it is, and she feels like if arms are brought to her, thing about it is I never really wanted. I didn't want this. I wasn't worried about it. I was just trying to get where I fit in, and all that mess. But that's one thing that it can be where it's self-serving at too, because she's looking at how easy she'll have it. She said he got to worry. I don't have to worry about these kids. I ain't got to worry about. All I need you to do is be here when I need you, and that's all I need.
Okay.
In it to win it.
All right.
Just in it for what it is I want.
Mm.
And that's the aspect of self-serving that you're probably driving at. But you also have to look at the fact that you always end up alone when you serve self. I mean, I don't care how you slice it, but after you've heard everybody say all of these things and give these different scenarios, the person still ends up alone.
Mm-hmm. Because
Okay. So we got
you're not involving. If you ain't
8 minutes.
involving anybody, you just involve yourself. So
We got eight
yeah.
minutes left. Let's bullet point self-serving and being judgmental, and then see bullet point some remedies to it. All right. Got it.
Okay.
Let's go. Joe,
All right. So
go ahead.
basically, self-serving is doing, just seeing what you can get for yourself, man, and not really, um, concern with others. What can you do? How can you benefit? And, and it being destructive, not knowing how destructive it can be for others. I did state earlier, because the obvious perspective of that is just getting what you can. But I did say earlier that sometimes, man, with some people they serve self because they don't want to depend on other people. Um, that's one of the things that one of the sides that I felt like I needed to express because there's a negative and a positive side to both of those. So that's pretty much what I wanted to kind of put light on.
Okay. Frederick.
Well, I would say that it all has to do with motive. If your intent is only to benefit yourself, then no matter what you do, you're always going to end up by yourself. And even that what you seem to have will be taken away.
Mm.
Hmm.
Interesting. Interesting. Remedies, solutions.
Don't be selfish. I mean, the biggest thing about the biggest thing about dealing with other people is make sure your motivation is pure. If you're doing something to get something out of it, as in something physical other than satisfaction for knowing that you help someone succeed or do better or something like that, or you were doing it because you want to see good in their life or good in their situation or whatever, then you're good to go. But when you're doing it and you have an ulterior motive and somewhere someone's going to get hurt, well, you will get served and it will be by you. So I will go with self-serving going that way.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank y'all for joining Coffee and Convo today. Today's topic was self-serving and being judgmental. Basically, this show was really saying, in a nutshell, the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I hope you got something out of this show. Enjoy your Sunday.
God bless.
Peace.